Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Kat. I am the Nurse Flipper. I'm a full-time eBay reseller, and today I am going to show you some research I did on teacups. And you will be amazed at what these sell for. We are going to start at $200 and go all the way up over $2,000 for one little teacup. So some of these are worth more than their weight in gold, which is pretty impressive. And they are dominated by a few brands, so definitely something that you can add to what you're looking for while you're outsourcing. And there are some pretty ones, so let's get started. All right, so all of these are sold on eBay. I did search worldwide, so some of them are international. There are some auctions, there are some buy it now, and I'm going to tell you which ones were which. And again, watch these names because it's the same names over and over again, and be aware that the pattern is very, very specific to the price. So the rarer the pattern, the higher the price, and some of these are amazing. So we're going to start first with this vintage Aynsley red and gold trim Cabbage teacup. This was put on auction and it sold for $217.06. It did have 25 bids. This was a Canadian seller. And here's the bottom. So Aynsley is marked. I have found multiple Aynsley over the years. None of mine have sold this high, but I have had some sell close to $100. So definitely keep an eye out. And again, make sure you pay attention to the patterns. All right, next is another name that also is dominating the top. I was kind of surprised because it's really, really dominated by 3 to 4 names that you see over and over and over. So this next one is a Paragon large cabbage roses, pink roses on black and blue. This one was also an auction, and this one sold for $207.50. The thing I want to point out with this one is that they took it on their dirty calendar with coffee spilled on it, but besides that, it was only the teacup. There was no saucer. So it is pretty rare to find just the teacup, not the saucer. But some of them can still sell high, so don't discount teacups without the saucers. Always check out those brands. And this one here, you can see on the bottom, it is marked Paragon. Now, Paragon does not have the name of the pattern. Some of these you will see as we go through. I will show the bottoms. They do have the name of the pattern, so it would be very, very easy to look up. This is a brand I also have found, and mine have sold very high as well. This was another auction. So this was a 3-piece place setting, and I actually have sold a couple of sets like this because I found them like this. A lot of collectors will get the luncheon plate, the saucer, and the teacup and display them just as you see here. This one had 8 bids, sold for $224.50. The brand is Shelley, England. And here is the back showing it. And again, this one does not have the name of the pattern. This one is a mint green. So watch out for Shelley. There are a lot of high dollar selling ones. Now, I do want to tell you, I was actually surprised. Shelley doesn't go up that high. Now, you'll see some here at 2, 3, maybe a little bit higher, but the top dollar ones, there were no Shelley. And I was actually pretty surprised at that because I was expecting that there would be and there wasn't. All right, next is a teacup, but not a teacup. So I came across a few things that were not actual teacups, but they are teacups. And I wanted to show you because it's insane the price this stuff sells for. So this is just a Disney figurine. It is the Mad Hatter, the Cheshire Cat, in a teacup. It is a Disney Traditions, and it's called Mad Tea Party. This one sold for $203 with 30 bids. Over in the UK, you can see it up close here. They did have the box, but this is a very, very small little trinket figurine and over 200 bucks. So keep your eye out for that Cheshire Cat. Don't discount things, guys. Don't discount them because there's a lot of things that will sell for high dollar that will really, really surprise you. All right, next is a brand that I know very, very well. I have found multiple of these over the years. The most famous pattern by Royal Albert is Old Country Roses, in my opinion. I've sold a teapot for over $200. I've sold serving pieces as well for over $200. So this one is Royal Albert, the Portrait Series, Pink and Gold Roses. This one was a buy it now. It sold for $239. Now, the nice thing with Royal Albert, as you see here on the bottom, they are marked, and they are marked with the pattern name. So you can look these up very, very easily. If they are not on eBay, you're able to look them up on WorthPoint. With having 10 years of history, makes it very, very easy to see. So with some of these teacups, you might find them for $50, but I would pay $50 to make a $250, $300 sale. So don't discount them if they are priced up high. I would still look them up. Don't neglect them just because they're priced high, because they might sell for a lot more. And next, we have another Shelly. This is a vintage Shelly Black Oleander Melody Chintz. This one was another auction. It sold for $247.07. Another one out of Canada. Here is the bottom. Again, with Shelly, they do not put the name of the pattern on it, but this one was a great, great sale, close to $250. All right, this next brand has actually been in a couple of my research videos I've done. If you have not seen them, I have started doing this research series. It started with linens, and then we went to brooches. Now we're doing teacups. So if you have any suggestions on something you would like me to look up and do some research on and see which items in that category are selling for higher, as long as it's something I sell and I am familiar with, I will be happy to add it to the list. And I do have a list made, so I'm doing at least one research video a week for you guys. Everybody seems to like them, and I like doing the research. So this brand is Meissen. I sold a Meissen vase for over $800 that I found in an online auction. This is an antique vintage Meissen porcelain signed, and I think it said cross signature. Really, really pretty teal blue here. This one had 71 bids and sold for $256.60. Here is the bottom showing the Meissen mark. So definitely learn that. My vase I had actually had the sticker, so it was really easy to identify as Meissen, and it had it etched into the glass of the vase that I had. All right, up next is one of the few sets that I put in here. There are a lot of sets that will sell this high, but I really wanted to show you guys individual teacups because that is what I see more often. Now, this is jadeite. If you're not familiar with jadeite, there are a lot of jadeite pieces that go really high. I could probably do a research video just on jadeite. So this set of 4 Fire King jadeite, it does say C handle, and I've actually had some D handle Fire King, not in jadeite, unfortunately. So this was an auction. It sold for $261. You can see here on the bottom, clearly marked Fire King made. Here is the handle showing that C handle. So people look for particular handles with some of these cups. So I did want to show you these jadeite because individually they would probably still sell for over $50. Up next is Paragon. This is another brand. Again, almost all of these brands in this video I have found like at garage sales, at thrift stores, online auctions, so I know that these teacups are definitely out there. This is a Paragon teacup and saucer, orchard fruit signed, and it says Aynsley. It's an Aynsley saucer. So this was actually a marriage piece with an Aynsley saucer, a Paragon teacup. Here is the bottom of the Paragon teacup. I did not get a bottom of the Aynsley saucer, but you can see that those two definitely matched very well, and the set sold for $280. Next is one with both Aynsley pieces. They are both orchard. So it is the same saucer, but this one is actually the Aynsley teacup. This set sold for $275. And it again is the orchard fruit. You can see on the bottom, both of these pieces are marked Aynsley. So again, with almost all of these teacups, they are marked and you are going to know. And then we have another Royal Albert. So this is Royal Albert Gold Crest White rose china footed. This one sold for a best offer. Not sure what that seller took. It was priced at $295. Here is the bottom, and again, Royal Albert shows it says Gold Crest series, so you would know exactly what to look up for with that one. All right, here is another, and there were not many teacups that sold this high without saucers, but there were a couple, and I definitely wanted to show you. This is a beautiful Aynsley teacup, and you can see they put only. It's the teacup only. It is a beautiful lavender teacup with a butterfly handle, beautiful gold on the bottom there. This was an auction. It had 10 bids and sold for $303. Here again is the bottom, marked Aynsley, England, so keep your eye out for Aynsley. And then there's another Shelly. All of these names I know, so I was really happy when I saw this because I know to look these names up. I've not been fortunate enough to find these high dollar. Actually, one coming up I think I have in my death pile, and I'm gonna work on organizing on Friday. I have somebody coming to help me. So hopefully I can find it and you'll see it sold, and I'll tell you when it comes up. So this is a Shelly Lilac Oleander teacup and saucer. This was a buy it now, sold for $299. Again, the Shelly Englands are marked. Here's the bottom, and I have found a few of these out in the wild while sourcing. Another Shelly teacup. This one was an auction, sold for $305. I have noticed typically, not all the time, but these all over patterns on the inside with solid colors on the outside tend to do pretty well. So that definitely is something that catches my eye. You can see here the all over print on the middle of this Shelly teacup. And again, there is the bottom marked as well. This one I had to show you because it looks so different. So I don't want you to think just all these pretty floral gold fruit. I want to show you there are some different ones that sell pretty high. So this is another Shelly, but as you can see here, it's not your traditional teacup. This is a gorgeous kind of ombre, pink into yellow. They did use Art Deco. They used swirls. This one sold for buy it now of $316. And again, very clearly marked Shelly on the bottom. All right, this next one coming up is the one I have in my death pile somewhere. Somewhere in the shed is this teacup. This is Aynsley Orchard, and they actually put orchid instead of orchard, so they did misspell that. Orchard signed D. Jones, heavy gold teacup and saucer, sold for $307. Here is the bottom, again marked very, very clearly. I picked mine up at a local auction for only, I believe, $8 for the set, and it is this exact pattern, so I need to find it. And then another one, this one looks close to that Aynsley butterfly handle. So remember the butterfly handles, but this one is a Royal Albert. So this is a 1920s Royal Albert pink butterfly. You can see that beautiful, beautiful pink on the interior there. This one is the saucer as well as the cup, and it does have the butterfly handle. Now this one does not say the pattern on the bottom. So this is one of the few Royal Alberts that does not say the pattern. It just says Royal Albert, Crown China, England, and a very, very good sale at $325. All right, here's another Shelly Oleander. This is another three-piece set. Again, I have sold 2 or 3 sets like this. Mine went international. This one was a Canadian sale. This one is the luncheon plate, the saucer, and the teacup. This trio sold for $395. Again, marked very, very clearly on the bottom. I think at the end of this video, you're gonna come away with some amazing brands to look out for if you did not know them already, and definitely some different patterns to keep a watch for. Now, this next one is one that I have not found. This is an antique French Sèvres. It says Sèvres type. Okay, it is not Sèvres. It is a Demitasse teacup and saucer, so it is very small. They use floral rose sprays, so great keywords there. Here is the bottom of that teacup showing the marking. So I think they used Sèvres type because they were unsure of the maker, which is kind of crazy to me because it's still sold for $350. Here's another 3-piece Shelly set. So watch out for these 3-piece set at estate sales because a lot of people display them this way. This is Shelly's Summer Glory. This is another oleander pattern, and you can see here it sold for $400 with 14 bids. and very, very easy to identify with the Shelly on the back. All right, this next one is absolutely beautiful. It's probably one of my favorite ones I came across. This is an antique lamb Dresden teacup and biscuit tray. So they are not calling it a saucer. It is beautifully reticulated. They have flower garlands, sold for $395. And here you can see on the back, it does have the Dresden mark. So again, really, really easy to identify. And we have another brand. This one is Limoges. So this is a Rare Drop Rose Haviland teacup and saucer Limoges. Here is the bottom. Very, very clear to see Haviland, France. It does say Limoges. Easy to identify, and a $400 sale on a teacup. Going up, they're going up. This is another one I have not found. This is a Coalport. It says circa 1900. It's got a bee and a butterfly. This was an auction from the United Kingdom. This one sold for $413.99. Here is the back showing the Coalport. It has 1760 on it, and you can see the crown symbol as well. So again, pretty easy to look up Coalport. You could probably look up Coalport butterfly. I would add gold in if I were to find this cup. All right. This brand I've not found a teacup in, but I have found some china in this brand. This is a Royal Worcester Antique Rare Raised Gold Encrusted Dimitasse teacup. So another very, very small teacup. This one sold for $435. Here is the bottom. Again, very, very clearly marked that it was Royal Worcester, made in England. And it says Ovington Bros. They did not have that in the title. So a lot of times with these teacups, you're gonna see what people are using, and that's where in the title, like if Ovington Bros wasn't a company that was commonly searched, I would leave that out and use that space to put in other keywords such as gold, dimitasse, saucer, things like that. You really want to think about your title, and if your brand or part of that brand is something that is not searched a lot, and you will see by seeing other sellers' titles, leave it out and use it for more descriptive keywords. Okay, this is a little bit insane. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. This is a tiny, like, I mean, tinier than my finger. This is an artisan miniature dollhouse Dimitri. This is a dollhouse teacup. One dollhouse teacup. This was sterling silver. Sold for $455 with 9 bids. It was an auction. I'm going to actually show you one that sold for higher that had markings. This one did not, but it is teeny. You're going to see another one here in a moment. Next, this is Wedgwood Jasperware. So this is lilac, which is not as common. They did have the little teapot as well as a teacup. This one was an auction, and it sold for $456 with 21 bids. This one has your classic Wedgwood made in England on the bottom. I come across Wedgwood a lot. I have not come across any Wedgwood lilac, but definitely look up Wedgwood if you find it, because there are some higher dollar pieces. And this goes to show that exactly. This is another set of Wedgwood. This was a 4 teacups. These are Queensware. They are glossy. They are not your typical matte finish on the Wedgwood Jasperware. This was an auction, and it sold for $445 with 47 bids. Here is the bottom of this. So it does say Wedgwood made in England. You can see on the bottom, it does say embossed Queensware. So again, that would be really, really easy for you to look up. Here's another teacup. That's not a teacup, but look at the price this sold for. This is a teeny tiny Tiffany & Co. Espresso teacup charm. Sold for $495. Look at how tiny this is on their fingers. Absolutely tiny. Here is the ring on that little charm, and I will point out to you, it says T & Co. because the ring is so small, there probably wasn't even enough room to write Tiffany & Co. This one was made in Italy, and it was $500 for something that was less than an inch. All right, another brand that keeps coming up in all of these higher dollar research videos. This is another Hermes. Did you know Hermes made teacups? I didn't. So this is an Hermes Cheval d'Orient teacup and saucer, sold for $499. Here is the back. So it does say Hermes, it does say Cheval d'Or, and it has the horse jumping on the bottom of the plate as well as on the teacup. So amazing, amazing sale. Are you ready for another teacup that's not a teacup? It's a teacup that's a purse. Really, it's a little coin purse. So, and there were a lot of these that sold this high. This is a Kate Spade teacup down the rabbit hole 3D coin purse. This one sold for $500, $499. Here is the bottom of it showing the Kate Spade New York. As I said, there were quite a few of these Kate Spade teacup coin purses selling for $500, so keep an eye out. All right, up next, this one, obviously the pattern is more rare for it to be selling this high, but I want to tell you guys, I've noticed that clipper ships in general, I sold an unnamed artist clipper ship painting for over $200. So watch out for clipper ship stuff. I think it has a pretty good following. This is an Aynsley clipper ship teacup with a red saucer. This one sold for a best offer. They had it priced at $475.32. Here's a close-up showing the beautiful, beautiful clipper ship. And again, here is the bottom showing that it was marked very clearly that it was Aynsley. Another Aynsley. Again, only a few brands dominated these top selling ones. So this Aynsley Cabbage Rose teacup and saucer sold for $510. 44 bids, so it was an auction. And again, marked very, very clearly. So watch out for Aynsley. And I think my main takeaway from this is check those patterns. Don't go see other Aynsley teacups that are priced lower, because there are Aynsley's that'll sell for $20, $25, $30. But you don't want to sell one of these $500 teacups for $30. Do your research. And then another Hermes. This was an Hermes cup and saucer. This one sold for $518.08. And here is the back. So it says Blues Hermes, made in France, very clearly marked on the saucer, and over a $500 sale. We are going up. We are going up. The next one sold for close to $600. This is another Meissen. So this is a B-form cup, gold blue cross sword floral, and it says it was unused. They got it as a gift, sold for $584. Again, here's the cross sword Meissen mark, so definitely something to know and keep an eye out for. All right, this is another Royal Worcester that sold for close to $600. I believe this is actually the same as the other one that sold for less. So again, do your research, because some of these sellers probably missed out and could have got more by other sold comps that I did. So this Royal Worcester, the raised gold, sold for $595. Here is the bottom again of the teacup as well as the saucer. So keep your eye out for Royal Worcester and this heavy gold gilt. All right, this is a set, and I think this is actually the only set that I've got in here, but I wanted to show you guys that Herend makes teacups. I'm more familiar with Herend for like their statues and figurines, but this teacup set sold for $610 with 26 bids. It is marked very, very clear on the back here. You can see Herend, so keep an eye out for those. Next is some more Hermes. So if you see the name Hermes on pretty much anything, my suggestion would be to pick it up. I sold an Hermes tie for over $50. And I have another one here. This is two Hermes teacups, d'Orient, d'Occident Blue. This is a set of two of them. They sold for $645. Again, here is the back. You can see the Hermes porcelain, made in Paris, and very, very amazing sale. All right, if this doesn't blow your mind, I'm not sure what will. So this is a tea tiny, and I'm gonna show you pictures. This is a miniature dollhouse Teresa Welch bowl, teacup, and saucer. This was an auction. It sold for $652.77. Look at these pieces on their finger. They are less than an inch, less than an inch. Here is the back of them. So it doesn't say her name, but there are numbers. I would hope you would be able to find it by Google Lens, but I wanted to show you guys these because they're so teeny tiny. I feel like we could easily look over stuff like this, and it was $650. So how crazy is that? And then this is a Riouette and La Rosie Paris. This says Sevres style again. This one sold for $695. It does have the cherubs on it. And here you can see it was signed La Rosie and I think Rijouet, it looks like. Unsure of that pronunciation, Rijouet. But $700 sale for one teacup. All right, another trend, the butterfly handle. This is a Royal Paragon butterfly handle, blue and pink. It sold for $695. Here is the bottom showing Paragon. Again, watch out for these butterfly handles. Not all of them are this high. I have found some butterfly handle teacups that didn't sell for more than 20, but I would definitely check them out if you see them. All right, we are now up to $800. This next one is a Dresden. This one is a teacup and saucer beaded gold gilt. Beautiful, beautiful teacup with a lid. You can see on the back here it is Dresden, and they do put lamb. So when you see the Dresden mark with the lamb, it looks like that is a term that is searched. So I would put that in your title. Beautiful, beautiful set, and sold for $800. All right. This is another 3-piece set. This is Horrend. This is the Maron pattern, and it's a dinner plate, saucer, and teacup, sold for $799 with 2 bids. So this was an auction. Here is the back showing the Horrend, and you can also see it says the Maron, so you would know the pattern to look up. Beautiful set and almost $800 sale. All right, this is the only one of Shelly that was up this high. And it was 5 pieces. And again, I really expected some individual Shelly teacups to be up there. They were not. This is a teacup, cake dish, creamer, sugar, and bowl with lilies. This one sold for $760. Again, very easily marked with the Shelly on the bottom. And that was a great sale for almost $800. Now, this one I'm not familiar with, but I wanted to show it to you guys. Just again, do your research, use Google Lens, take photos, try and figure out what you have. This is an antique Chinese famille rose porcelain teacup. It was an auction. It had 55 bids and sold for $890. So here on the side, you can see there is some Asian writing, but the bottom of this teacup is not marked. So this is one I think could be easily missed or overlooked or undersold. So definitely use Google Lens. If you're unsure, you can throw it up on an auction, you know, start it at 50 bucks if you're happy with 50 bucks. And then you can get yourself a $890 sale. All right, next is another brand that I'm not familiar with. This is Antique KPM Berlin teacup and saucer. It says Scenic. Here's the back, very, very clearly marked KPM. You can see the gold gilt on this one, and this one sold for $850. Up and next, this is a beautiful vintage Russian. This is solid silver gilt. It is an enameled, looks like cloisonne teacup. It says from the 1960s, sold for $904.79. Here's the marking on the bottom. I could not make this out. I don't know that I would have called this for a $900 sale, but I wanted to show you guys so you can definitely keep an eye out. And then we have another Haviland Limoges Christmas Rose. Beautiful, beautiful teacup. This was an auction. They did only get 1 bid. This one sold for $950. You can see again, very clearly marked Haviland Limoges, France. So very easy to recognize. All right, these fruit cups, or cups with fruit, there are a lot of them that sell high. This next one is amazing. This is a vintage Royal Worcester teacup, saucer, fruit and gold. Here it is up close. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful teacup. Here's the bottom showing Royal Worcester, made in England. And again, almost $1,000 sale. Are you ready to have your mind blown again? If you haven't already, this is an artisan miniature dollhouse Dimitri. Again, this is sterling, but it's TT tiny. This set with the teacup, the spoon, and the saucer sold for $1,009 with 8 bids. Look at it on the finger. Look at how tiny this little spoon is. Here is the set. This one does have a marking on the back, but it's absolutely insane to me that this TT tiny thing sold for $1,009. All right, another KPM Berlin. And again, this is a brand I have not come across. This is an antique KPM Berlin scenic cup and saucer, which is what the other one was. Again, here's the bottom clearly showing KPM, $1,100 sale. We're getting higher. This is another Dresden teacup. This is an Ambrosius lamb Dresden teacup. It was an auction. It sold for $1,295 and it had 2 bids. Beautiful, beautiful teacup. Look at it up close here. I probably would have put like courting scene, courting couple in my title. Here is the bottom again with the lamb. So watch for the Dresden with the lamb. This one says made in Saxony, and again, almost a $1,300 sale. All right, here comes some Aynsley home runs. These are the Aynsley's that we all want to find. This is an Aynsley teacup and saucer cabbage rose with a black background. This was an auction. It sold for $1,485 with 32 bids for 1 teacup. Here is the cup and saucer. They did not show the back, but in my experience, all Aynsley is marked. Another Paragon. Paragon, Aynsley, KPM, Dresden, names that came up over and over and over. So this vintage Paragon was another auction, sold for $1,550 with 44 bids. Here is the back. Again, very, very clear, easy to read that it was Paragon, very easy to identify. All right, here's a teacup, but it's not the teacup like you were thinking. So this is a panorama cotton with case and manual. So it was a game teacup Mega Drive for Genesis, US seller. Here's the game. So here's the game panorama cotton. Here is the teacup showing panorama cotton Sunsoft presents, and this set sold for $1,750, which is absolutely insane. I don't know that I would have pegged this. I probably would have looked this up, but I would not have pegged it as a $1,750 sale. All right, the auctions are getting hot. They're getting hot. This is another Aynsley cabbage rose teacup auction. 86 bids. It sold for $2,034 for 1 teacup. And here at the bottom, you can see J.A. Bailey. So I think J.A. Bailey on Aynsley definitely is probably a home run when you're looking at teacups. Now, this Aynsley is my favorite one that I found. This is an Aynsley butterfly chrysanthemum cup and saucer. They say no shipping to Canada, scammers. I'm going to assume these people have been scammed. I personally would not put that in my title. This one sold for $2,299, so almost $2,300. Here it is up close. You can definitely tell beautiful hand painted. You can see the Aynsley signature, and amazing, amazing sale. All right. This one I would have picked up. I would have picked this up, but I would not have pegged it at a $2,500 sale. It is another Meissen. So this Meissen, look at this. It has this amazing snake handle. It also has the feet. It sold for $2,499. Beautiful, beautiful cobalt blue. Amazing, amazing handle there. Here are the cherubs that are painted on the other side. And here's the cross sword Meissen mark. So again, absolutely amazing $2,500 sale. All right, another $2,500 teacup coming right up. This is a super rare Paragon large pink cabbage rose, square shape. gray teacup and saucer. This one also sold for $2,500. Here it is up close. You can see again, it's got some squared off edges. And here's the bottom, again, very, very clearly marked with Paragon. And it does not say the pattern on the Paragon, so make sure you look those up. All right, this Dresden did not show the bottom, but it does say lamb Dresden, so I'm going to assume it's that Dresden signature with the lamb that we have been seeing. This teacup and saucer sold for $3,500. This one did also have the luncheon plate or dessert plate, but an amazing, amazing sale. And again, I don't have the bottom. This was a buy it now and a $3,500 sale. All right, now we are up to $4,500 for one teacup. One teacup. That'd be a nice sale, right? This is a reticulated Sevres saucer, early 1900s. It sold for $4,500. So I wanted to show you, if you do not know, reticulated is here where you're seeing the pieces cut out on it. That is what reticulated is. So this saucer was reticulated. It is marked Sevres. It does say made in France, and it sold for $4,500. All right, the highest selling teacup. If you want to guess a brand, I'll let everybody guess in the Premier chat what brand this is. All right, it is an Aynsley. This is an Aynsley Chrysanthemum Butterfly Gold teacup that sold for $4,999. Here it is up close. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful painting there with the butterfly. Here is the back. The Aynsley is marked. Absolutely amazing, amazing sale for $5,000. So that is the end of my research on teacups. I hope you guys enjoyed. $5,000. You know, I find teacups all the time for like $5, $10. I'd love to turn $5 into $5,000. That would be absolutely amazing. I've had some amazing flips, but not quite that high. Not yet, but I bet I will. So I will be doing one of these research videos per week. I'm not sure what the next one is. Let me know what you would like to see next. I will see you guys on Friday. I think what I'm going to do is do a video of what sold the rest of the week after Monday, because we've had some really great sales this week, so you can see my personal sales. Again, all of these teacups are not my sales. They are ones I researched. They were all sold on eBay, and I did tell you throughout the video if they were buy it now or auction. And I've got a $300 or $400 teacup in my death pile. So I've got to work on getting my death pile organized and making room. I have a $2,500 auction buy with some really, really high price stuff that I don't have room to put in my shed. So that is my big concentration. The end of this week, over the weekend, is going to be getting the shed in order so that early next week I can go pick up my auction haul and be able to list those items, process them, get them through, get this stuff in here organized, because I do have 3 people who are working listing for me now. My daughter, my daughter-in-law, and my friend Charlene are all listing for me. So I need to be able to hand them a box and say, here you go. And right now I'm starting to run out of boxes for them to list. So the boxes are getting slim and I need to have stuff for them to list. So getting all of my stuff organized and like seeing this teacup that I know is here somewhere for $400 is definitely a motivator for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you are not subscribed already, definitely subscribe, turn on the bell notification to get notified when I put out new videos. And in order to keep providing you videos like this, if you are interested in our membership packages, you can click the join button below any video on the computer. We do have packages starting at $1.99 a month. I appreciate all of my members so much. It definitely helps me be able to do all of these lovely research videos. They do take hours. They take hours to do, but I love doing them. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing it. I will see you on Friday. Happy hump day and bye for now.